Thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to the Transportation and Logistics Podcast, powered by Atlanta Dispatch and Humblebee Enterprises. I'm excited to be here with a very special guest. We have Ms. Vanessa Gant of ProVision Accounting Solutions. And before we begin, I just wanted to go ahead and give a shout out to all the ladies out there, especially the ones that are making this world flow smoothly. It is International Women's Day, and I owe so much of the education I've received in life and in business to women, from my mother and, even my wife, all the way to my manager who really showed me the ins and outs of a 3PL operation. So, I owe so much to women. And not even to mention this platform, the Transportation and Logistics Clubhouse, was aided by some of the incredible women over there at the Leading Ladies of Logistics. So, I just wanted to make sure I shouted out all the women out there because I truly do appreciate you. The Dispatcher's Guide to the Galaxy is available as an ebook and a physical book. And, the whole purpose is that we're seeking to set a baseline from which the advanced dispatching knowledge and technique can be built. So grab your copy. You can visit my website, transportationandlogistics.club /book. You can go straight there. A lot of folks have just gotten the ebook on Apple Books, and yeah, so that's a convenient way as well. Also, if you've been tapped in with the Transportation and Logistics Clubhouse, you know that each Monday for probably the last 2 years, we've partnered up with the Sonar team over at Freightwaves, and we've leveraged their rate analytics tool to help our carrier base, the folks that tune in, understand which markets to position their trucks into so that they can take advantage of those market conditions. This past Monday, we actually welcomed our very first freight brokers to join us in those sessions. And, we had Jessica Hayward, regional director of Nolan Transportation, and she shared all of her well, not all of them, she shared a handful of her high volume opportunities, her consistent opportunities. And it was great. It was great. It's definitely something that I look forward to doing more of in the future. She had opportunities out of the southeast, out of the northeast, out of the southwest, and which leads me to say, if you're listening to this, if you're a carrier that has the capacity to go in and out of Mexico, so if you can get freight in and out of Mexico, there are high volume opportunities for the dry van and for the flatbed. So feel free to send me an email at dispatch@atlantadispatch.org. So yeah, that's definitely something that we're going to be doing more of. I'm definitely looking forward to it. This coming Monday, we're going to have our friends over at Sage Freight. I feel like I've actually seen them go from infancy to now they're hitting. So I'm happy to be able to partner up with them this coming Monday. So yeah, that's it. But Miss Vanessa, how are you doing today, ma'am?
I am great, Jerry. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. It's a blessing to have you here on stage. And, for those who might not know your background, right? What was your path to how you, uh, actually, before we even get there, I talked about the leading ladies of logistics, okay? And you happen to be one of those young ladies. And, I can recall the excitement around the logistics conference that you guys hosted here in the Atlanta area. And I just wanted to ask you, how does it feel to be a member of such a esteemed group, and what is it like to pull from like your strengths, everybody's strengths, to put on such a huge event like that conference?
It's amazing to be, a part of a group like that, to have women to the forefront of transportation, because when many people think of this industry, they think of men, and women are usually in administrative roles, but all of us were able to come together from different backgrounds in the industry to, pull it all together and make something great out of it. We've been quiet, we're in a bit of a reset mode, but we're definitely still all working in our lanes in the industry and still encouraging people to keep it moving. Like it's a transportation and trucking is like it's a way of life for me. I tried to run away from it a couple years ago and it didn't work.
It didn't work. Why?
It didn't.
Your friends kept pulling you back.
Well, I tried to switch industries and it just wasn't fun. I like the
Mm,
chaos. Like I like the chaos of the industry. If and I'm
right.
sure everyone could agree that 2022 is certainly full of chaos. So it was one of those strange things. Like if it wasn't, it's like you wanted something to be ruffling your feathers. Because if it was too easy, it was too easy. So
Right.
I came back to where my base was.
No, I feel you. I feel you. And 2022 was exactly that. It was Murphy's Law amplified by a billion. Anything that could go wrong went wrong, and you just had to figure it out. So, no, I definitely agree with you. And, I know that you said that you guys are in a reset, but how does it feel? Like, how impactful has it been? As being a part of that group, and maybe like even when it comes to business and your success, like would you attribute any of that success to being one of those members?
I would definitely say we all can attribute a level of our success to the organization and the exposure that we were able to get, the people that we were able to impact. It was definitely a surreal moment because, I've always been that accounting girl that just so happened to be as nosy as possible when when I was at work and learned everyone's desk because I knew mine like the back of my hand. So now being able to have an audience and to have a stage to share that with everyone and to also encourage women to like we don't have to sit behind the desk, like we can really run these companies because when we're behind the desk we're soaking in everything around us anyway. So let's just encouraging everyone to come to the forefront and own it, and and take your authoritative role in the industry. We don't always have to be the quote unquote support staff. Right?
Right, right.
So, and it was amazing that once we started doing that, like the people that were encouraged and then still being able to meet so many more powerful women that were in the industry, the women now were able to like come from behind, behind the desk and behind the scenes and say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I've been doing, this is what I've been moving and shaking, and this is what I'm capable of doing. So even like building this network of women from the industry has been amazing.
Awesome. I love to hear it. And again, I've gained so much knowledge just from tuning into some of the sessions that you guys put on and attending the conference and all that kind of great stuff. So I definitely can, attest to the impact that you guys are having in the industry. And you did mention how, you're you've been in the industry and you even tried to pivot away, but you came back. So this kind of leads me back to that question, which was, what was your path to, being in this role? How did you find yourself getting the information to even support the trucking industry the way that you have on the accounting side?
Okay. So it all started back. I initially was working in manufacturing and then I went to school. I went back to school. I went back to school and I got my accounting degree. And my very first accounting job was at a freight forwarder's office. Right.
Mm,
I didn't know anything at all about the industry, didn't really care about it. I just wanted a job in my field because I've spent all this time going to school, paid for this degree. I needed a job in the field. So I, went in and I'm doing the accounting, but as everything is coming across my desk, I told you I'm nosy, right? Like I just don't want to do the numbers. I have to read everything that's coming by here, even if it has nothing to do with the numbers. And as I'm seeing everything that's coming across my desk, I started connecting it. So with the freight forwarding, we arranged a lot of the freight that was coming from overseas to Charleston, and clearing it through customs. So when I would see things from Hapag Lloyd and Merce and China shipping. And I was like, okay. And now I'm driving down the highway. It's like, oh, that's who they are. Oh, that's what that means. And they started connecting. So I got really interested in the actual industry of like, these are how things get from A to B. this is, we're coordinating the freight that comes from overseas. We're getting it cleared at customs. We're hiring the carrier, the trucker to come, get this freight where it needs to be. So we're doing all this. So that happened. That taught me the movements of how things got to where they needed to be, how things got into the country, how they got to the warehouse, how they got to the store. I was fascinated by it. So that was the first step that connected the dots for me. And I was handling an account for a trucker that was out of New Jersey, and he came to town, and he took me out because I was managing his account, and he was opening an office in Charleston, and he asked me if I knew anyone, that he could hire. I was like, well, it depends on how much you're paying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I pitched myself. Fast forward 30 days later, I was the person that was helping him start his Charleston location. I started there as accounts receivables. I was with him for 10 years in that capacity. I went from, his accounts receivables girl to the director of finance there. We opened 10 locations from down the East Coast over to Texas. So that put me instrumental, not just from the accounting standpoint, but now I'm in this place where I'm helping open the offices from top to bottom. I could literally run the office if I needed to. I understood the TMS system, I understood the safety, I understood all the processes. So that's that knowledge base that came, but he also taught me a lot. Being able to work for someone that was still in the growing phases of his business, that actually took me along on every step that he made, was definitely a lot of my education, a lot of my familiarities with the industry, um, and it just as a whole. So I just kind of took it from that. I took it from there. Every time I had an opportunity to learn something different, I took it, and it just compounded on it. And somehow, I'm just going to say, somehow I became a genius at it, right?
Mm-hmm.
For letting it compound.
Right, right. No, I love it. I mean, it feels great to know something in and out like the back of your hand and be able to help people, which I know that you've done so much of. And, I guess to tie it into trucking, like in the entrepreneurial pursuits and endeavors of the majority of the people that listen to this podcast, why is it important for a trucking company to leverage an accountant that actually specializes in transportation versus one that doesn't have any specific trucking experience?
Now, you definitely want to have someone, as in with any niche business, someone that actually understands your business, that understands your industry, that can help you look out for some of the KPIs, the key performance indicators that you need to be tracking, especially when it comes to your income and your expenses. Someone that's going to be able to look at your numbers and help you understand, why your expenses may be increasing in a certain category, or if if you're doing your accounting, if any of the numbers, I would say, look off. Like, I'll give this example. If generally, I like to say your fuel cost should be about 25% of your gross revenue. So if when fuel cost is at an average, not when fuel cost was high, but industry standard wise, it should be about 25% of your gross revenue. Well, if that number starts to get higher and is getting to, like, 30%, 32%, now we need to start talking. We want to talk about, is your fuel cost high because it's just, the cost of fuel? Is it high because maybe the rates that you're accepting for your loads are lower? Is it because your equipment needs to be maintenance? Is it because your driver is stealing fuel? So there's a
Right.
couple different things that we can look at to figure out why your metrics aren't within margin where there should be. And also, I will tell you, for me, because of my background in the industry, I use the numbers to go a bit more forward. Like, I use your numbers to help you diversify the type of freight that you're getting. If someone does have a dry van, and right now it's really not your season, I encourage them to do some power only work. A lot of people don't think about it that way. You know,
Mm. No, I hear.
so I use a number, and I use your numbers to also help you and see. And if you had someone like that is familiar with the industry and is your accountant, and that is the level of service that that you signed up with for them, they can do more than help you save money using those numbers to help you interpret what your company is doing.
Right, right, right. Okay. No, I definitely hear you there. And when it comes to taxes for a motor carrier, for a trucking company, can you explain some of those unique responsibilities that a trucking company has to keep in the forefront of their mind versus, just some other type of organization?
Yeah, so I do want to put this disclaimer out there. I am seeing more trucking companies be audited by the IRS this year than I've seen in my entire life.
I heard about that.
So what I and so what I am recommending to everyone from the bare basics, stop playing with your company and get financially organized. Have you put an accounting system in place so that you're fully tracking everything that's coming in and out of your business, income and expenses. Make sure that you are keeping your receipts for every single expense that you're claiming in your business. Stop the Zelle, the Venmo, the Cash App business. I'm seeing right now there are a lot of repair companies that want to be paid via one of those methods. I need you to tell them to send you an invoice. Even if you're going to do that, you need to have an invoice to support the money that's going out. Right? You want to make sure that you're not commingling, because the moment that you decide to do something personal out of your business account, you're compromising everything. Financial organization is key. Receipt keeping is key. Paper fades. Take a picture of it, email it to yourself, store it into a Google Drive, store it into an email folder. Those are going to be the major things. Also in trucking, we know a lot of people had losses in 2020, but a lot of people made a lot of money also at the same time. You don't want to be waiting. So right now is not the time to talk to your accountant or your tax preparer about your 2021 taxes. You should have did that in October, November, or even sooner.
Okay.
Trying to save money or lower your tax bill after the tax year has ended is almost slim to none.
Oh, you find that happening pretty frequently?
Of course, it happens all the time. It happens all the time because the owners of the trucking companies, especially right now, their main focus is to make money, not the organization. So I'm not knocking them for it because I completely get it. You want to make sure that your trucks are moving, that you have loads, because if the truck is moving, then you feel like you're making money. So, and the part about the organization or the financial organization gets put on the back burner because it's not making you money.
Mm-hmm.
But it should your financial foundation and status of your business still needs to be near in that top 3 as it is, and you generating income in the business. So the number one thing will be the organization.
Mm-hmm. So
Financial organization, um having an accounting system. One of the things that kind of put people in a weird place is when they're first starting out and they purchase their equipment in their personal
mhm.
name. I highly recommend that you get this. Make sure, if you can, highly recommend that your equipment is in your business
That
name.
seems to be a little challenging, right? Because most folks, haven't seasoned their business credit in order to make that move. So what you're saying is, folks who are not just jumping in the industry, but are, I guess, forward thinking enough to make sure that they're building business credit. Like, is there a way around that?
So, but what I would say is, if you get into a situation where you have to put your equipment in your personal name, make sure that you're talking with your tax preparer and accountant when you do that, so that you guys can put some additional things into place to make sure that you're able to, write that off on your taxes.
So let me just, I'm not asking for any specific advice because I know that it changes, right? But
Right.
let's say sole proprietorship, right? And I have this bad boy on my in my personal, in my name. I would be able to write those, what's that thing called when it goes the devaluation? I can write that
The
off.
depreciation.
Yeah, yeah. I was
So
trying to get there.
the depreciation. My recommendation is that because you're using equipment in a business um to generate revenue that the business doesn't own, right?
Mm,
You own it. You own it personally, the business doesn't, right?
mm.
So if the business doesn't own it or isn't leasing it or renting it, the business can't depreciate it because the business doesn't own it.
Right. Okay. So, to get around that, speaking to a tax professional, your accountant, they would come up with some type of verbiage that talks about, the uses and how it's going to be.
Yes.
Go ahead. Go
See
ahead.
you
Finish it.
see you said it and I didn't, right? And I'm saying it that way is because I don't want to misinform everyone because it's definitely a case by case basis, right? So
Oh,
you definitely want to make sure that whatever the decision is on that you've spoken with the person that you're going to be working with, and they advise you on the way that will be best and legal for you to be able to get the benefits of it.
okay, no, I respect that. I respect that. And so we kind of talked about this. We got on the train on what should be baked into a carrier's daily, weekly, monthly, yearly operation. And you said first things first is you got to get a grip on those expenses and those your P&L. You got to be able to track those bad boys. You got to keep those receipts together, stop the quick pays, and don't commingle funds. What else? If we're talking about making sure.
Okay, wait, so let's back up. So I mean, they can do quick pays now. They can do quick pays because we need to get the money in. We don't want to be waiting 30 days to get paid. So you can do the quick pays, but like the
Okay,
Cash App and
okay,
Venmos and stuff like that, when you're paying for expenses, if you're doing that, just make sure you have a receipt to actually support the money that's going out of your business.
okay. No, I
Right.
respect that.
um Outside of like having the accounting system, doing your receipts, being financially organized, you have to have a bookkeeper, an accountant, or someone on your team. And I want to be clear with this, like your tax preparer isn't necessarily your accountant, right? There's some people that
Okay,
just prepare taxes and don't do accounting. So you can't and sometimes we get it confused because they think that we're one and the same. So and there's also accountants that don't do taxes. I happen to do both, right?
right,
So there's a misconception of, when I'm going to get my taxes done, I can just hand them all of this information, but that's a different service. You're asking someone to do accounting at the time of your taxes being prepared. So, I know I feel like I'm skipping over the place, but to go back to where you are. One, if you were just starting your business, you probably use some of your personal resources to actually start your business, your personal checking account, your personal credit cards. You may have gotten some loans to fund your business in your personal name. You can still, but those are still business expenses, right? You can still write those things off. You just need to have that very organized and present it to your accountant or your tax preparer so that you can still get credit for those business expenses.
right, right.
Basically, what they will be considered is an investment, an owner's investment into the business, which will still qualify as a business expense.
Okay. I definitely, so I utilize QuickBooks. And, when I was going through my expenditures, I saw that that was something that I could have tagged some of my expenses as,
Mm-hmm.
that investment, that owner's investment. Is there a specific accounting system, bookkeeping system that you recommend? If somebody's new to the business, or maybe they're operating and that this is a better situation. Is there anything you recommend?
So I primarily work with QuickBooks. I love QuickBooks because it can be customized. Obviously, it's a basic, bare bones, in my opinion, accounting software, but it definitely can be set up and customized for the trucking industry very quickly. I like it because a lot of other apps and programs integrate with QuickBooks, which can make it easier. A lot of the TMS systems integrate with QuickBooks that will allow you to import your invoicing. Um, so definitely doing that. What else would I say? If you are financing equipment, You want to make sure that you have your interest statement so that you're able to write off the interest that you're paying on your truck notes or your trailer notes. If you are financing equipment, the trailer payment, the actual loan payment, is not a business expense. Only the interest portion of it is, because you get the tax benefit by depreciation. So
My
remembering that.
say that again, run that back. I feel like
Okay.
that was big, right? And I want
Okay.
to make sure I got that right. Can you take that one from the top, which is take that one again,
Okay.
please?
Okay. So we'll do it. So when it comes to, if you have financed equipment, right? A lot of people think that the actual payment for the financed equipment is a business write off. That you're able to write that off 100%. It is not. Only the interest portion of your loan payment is a business expense.
Mm-hmm.
You get the tax benefit from finance equipment via depreciation.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Especially when people were able to depreciate the entire vehicle over the course, what was that, of a year, 2 years when Trump was in office? I mean, it was crazy.
So yeah, so with the it was in 2017, I believe, they put the Tax Jobs and Act cut um into place, which expired on December 31st, 2022, which 100% depreciation expired then. Right now it's on a 5-year phase out. So starting January 1, 2023, you can do 80% bonus depreciation, and then you phase out the other 20. Next year it goes down to 60, then it goes to 40, then it goes to 20, then it goes away. Unless somebody comes back and decides they want to help us again.
Gotcha. Say what you want. I know a lot of folks are taking advantage of that one. At least the ones
Oh,
that have, a
absolutely.
tax preparer was informed. Okay, okay, well, that's cool. Did
So
you?
what I do want to add on to that is, but if you are leasing equipment, all right, if you're leasing or renting equipment, those payments are 100%. You can, like, you're 100% writing that off in
Gotcha.
the time
That
that it happens.
Yeah, that makes sense too. Just because if you're financing it, that means that you're trying to take ownership, and if you're leasing it, that's a sunken cost. Like you're not getting that value back.
Correct.
Okay, cool. And look, you mentioned this. You said that the accountant is not always the tax preparer, and there's also a bookkeeper in there. What's the difference between the three? I guess more so. What's a bookkeeper versus someone that's an accountant? Just to put some definitions behind the terms.
Okay. So your bookkeeper is basically going to record your transactions.
Hmm.
Yeah, they're basically going to record your transactions and put your information where it needs to be. Right? That's like first level stuff. Let's just, all of your transactions that comes into your QuickBooks or your accounting software, I'm going to go ahead and categorize it where it needs to be. Your accountant should be able to interpret the financial information, do some financial analysis for you, be able to give you strategies, um, and key things of that nature. So it goes into more of a specialty. It's not just okay, I have the reports, I'm going to give them to you. Now we can actually talk about what's in these reports. Let me give you some strategy. Let me break down the story that these numbers are telling. The bookkeeper is merely saying, okay, I'm putting this information here. Now you need to get somebody else to tell you what it means.
Okay, so the first rung is the bookkeeping, which is why you can find so many bookkeeping services out here these days.
Yeah. But to get the accountant to be able to interpret the financial information into information that you can create strategy and implement strategy and put plans and forecasting into place is definitely what's happening in the accounting realm.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Okay, okay. Look, let me ask this. This is, right now, I feel like the industry standard is, oh, you better get those taxes done before April. But I don't really hear too many people talking about quarterly filing. Like, is that something that you would encourage? And do you have many clients that are into that type of system?
So I went into that. A lot of people like, "Oh, I want to file my taxes quarterly." You don't file taxes quarterly. You pay estimated quarterly taxes. So there's really nothing being filed quarterly as it relates to income tax.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to be able to, have the accountant to interpret your financial records on a quarterly basis to advise you on if you should, well, if you need to make a quarterly tax payment or not.
Gotcha. So why wouldn't somebody need? I mean, why would somebody want to do a quarterly tax payment versus hold? Is there any benefit of doing it in the quarter system versus doing it all at the end of the year that you found? Is there any
Absolutely,
benefit?
absolutely, yes.
Okay,
The IRS does have a penalty if you do have a tax bill at the end of the year and you haven't paid any money into it quarterly. There is a late, like a late payment penalty that they will assess to you. Anyone that is expected to owe more than $1,000, the IRS would like for you to make quarterly tax payments. What they like, they want their money at the time that you're making your money. They don't want to wait. So it's like, if you were getting a W-2, if you were being paid W-2, they get paid every time you get paid, right? So the IRS wants the same thing from the businesses. We want to get paid when you're getting paid.
that makes sense. I never thought about it like that, but that definitely makes sense. So the expectation is to get paid when you get paid. Because I was thinking, how is it possible to, put a fee on that if everybody and their mama paying their taxes, at the end of the year, once a year? But you sum that up pretty well with a W two. The IRS is getting paid every time that employee is getting paid. Okay. Yeah, never thought about
Mhm.
it that way. Okay.
They want their money in real time.
Right, right. That makes perfect sense. Okay. When it comes to, all right, so we got the accounting system, we got making sure those expenditures, your income and your expenses are being documented correctly. um and what else needs to go into somebody's operation? Like, what about IFTA? What about, is that's more compliance, or is that also something that an accountant and a tax preparer would be interested in?
So that's more compliance. I will tell you something that does stand out when it comes to write-offs. Um, if you have a driver that you are paying, or anyone is doing work for you, um, that you are paying more than $600, please get a W-9 so that you can issue a 1099 to them. I can't tell you how many people that I've seen, that have paid their drivers Cash App or, Zelle, and they don't have they don't have a W-9 on file for them. So they can't issue a 1099. So I can't write this. I can't let you write this off. Like, I'm not going to sign off on it because we have no proof. Like, we
Mm-hmm.
have no proof that you actually paid that. So that's one of the things that I definitely want to tell everyone. Do not forget to get the W-9 for anyone that is going to be working for you, that you're going to be paying as a contractor.
Gotcha. No, I think that's very important. People don't really think about it. I mean, I guess in this, I feel like nowadays the information, you would think that it's out there, but no, that's very very important. Okay. Um,
I would really say, in fairness to them, Audrey, everyone's just trying to, like, it's been, the industry has been, I would say, like, so chaotic. Like, everyone is just trying
right.
to move, like, get the truck to move, let's make some money. I'm gonna go back and do this, and time slips by.
Right, right. No, I hear you. Okay. Yeah, and you put that at the very beginning of the conversation about all of the, well, it made me, you said something early in the conversation that made me think about the IRS's huge investment into their workforce, and how, those, anything over $600, they're really scrutinizing and expect to make a lot more of their profit, for the year based off of fault finding with taxes and, filing. So no, I hear you. Everything is important these days, and I appreciate you
And they
mentioning.
are. And they are. I feel like they will probably more likely be targeting the middle range companies because they're going to feel like they may not have the capital to invest in representation or attorneys. So it's just easier right now for everyone to just make sure that they have a record of everything that's happening
Right, right.
financially in their business.
Okay.
Yeah.
And for you and your company, right? Um, are you like are you in a spot where you can handle new business, or are you swamped? Like, what is tax season like for you? Like, do you only mess with the folks that have already been on your roster for a while, or if somebody was interested and they were hearing your voice right now, they would be able to reach out to you and get some services?
Okay. So I will tell you right now, we are currently not taking any more tax clients for the 2022 tax year. Um, and we are primarily working with clients. Our tax clients are basically our accounting clients. So we kind of moved into the space of I need you to be my accounting client in order for us to do your taxes. It makes it a better transition for everyone. Um, right now, some people like last year I had a lot of people come to me at the end, and we had to do a lot of recreating of their process to find a lot of things. So right now we're focusing on more like, we're definitely accepting accounting clients. But when it comes to taxes, if you aren't already a client, we are not accepting them for this tax season.
I think that is a great point. I think that's a great point that you would prefer the people that you prepare the taxes for to already be on your roster as someone you're providing the accounting services for, so you don't have to put on you don't have to rush and get into the crunch and get all super stressed out dealing with somebody else's last minute escapades. So no, I think that's very smart. I liken it to dispatching, and how certain dispatchers will require certain things of carriers before they feel as though they will take them on as a client. Like, most dispatchers don't want somebody that has a super brand new authority because of the inability to get loads for certain brokers, or the fact that some equipment types might be a little bit more challenging to dispatch for than others. So no, I respect it, and that definitely protects your peace at the end of the day, because you know that
Yes.
throughout that year, things are going smoothly. So you're not expecting any surprises because you've already seen it.
Yes. So when you mentioned dispatch companies, this is one thing I wanted to say too that I wanted to say earlier, but I forgot. Your dispatch company and your trucking company are two separate companies. I want
Okay.
everybody to
What?
remember that. Why? One, the NASA's codes are different for them, and let's look at this into perspective. If your dispatch company basically has no liability, it's a lot of overhead, right? But your trucking company does. That truck is a weapon, right? Anything can
Mhm.
happen. So let's just say something happens on the trucking side that isn't in your favor. Do you want to lose your dispatch company also?
Okay. So how do you do that? How do you?
They're two separate companies,
Okay.
two separate companies. Do not operate them together. It's not
Right.
it's not in your favor to operate them together. One, they won't go under the same NASA's code for what the business type is doing because one is arranging freight and one is the movement of freight.
Right, right, right. Okay, okay. So this is, for those carriers that happen to also provide dispatch services for other motor carriers, correct?
Yes.
Okay, no, that makes sense. I'm wondering, all the people who I've talked to in the past, did they have them separate? Because I don't know if they did.
I would say definitely from a liability standpoint, in just that in just that example, let's God forbid someone's truck goes out here and it's into an accident, and you know what, bam, I got to shut this down. I'm going to shut this company down, but that also means you have to shut your dispatch company down too, because
mm,
It's the same name running under the same EIN number. You're losing two
No.
companies at one time.
No, that makes sense. Definitely makes sense. Okay, okay. And I'm really trying to get into. So I'm about to go into the weeds. I'm really trying to learn more about the trust. Having a family trust and how people leverage trust to put their companies in, and sometimes within that trust and within that company they have other companies. Within that. So many. That's where I'm at in life, is just trying to see what's the best way to structure that type of stuff. But that's neither here nor there. We don't have to talk about that.
Because what I will well, I because I was just going to I am a firm believer of staying in my lane, and that, my dear, is not my lane. So that there will be no misinformation from me on that. I That is not my lane.
Right, right. No, I hear you. I hear you. That is something that I get excited thinking about it, especially all the clips you see on Instagram and all that stuff. So, but well, yeah. Look, about you, right? I know that you've already made it clear that first someone has to be enrolled into your accounting services, and it makes me say, like, for like, what's scaling like for your company? Scaling when you have to have such a very specific skill set, like accounting and tax preparation. Like, is it easy to replicate your knowledge and your efforts, or like, is it like, how do you do it?
So I I I count the accounting portion of it, of course. Like, I feel like that is definitely something that can be learned, but the industry part of it, this is where I feel like I marry it. To me, in my opinion, is that my clients get the best of both worlds. Right? You have someone who has the experience and education and being an accountant, but to actually have someone who has the 18 years of industry experience to be able to put the two together, it's it's like harmony. So
Mm.
that industry experience part of it is what sets me apart, and what which allows me to be a double treat to my clients. It's one of these things where I can't just look at your numbers and not tell you something, and not say, hey, this is suggesting, this is what I see. I can't just look at your numbers and then know that I may have an industry connect that can help you.
Right, right, right. Is it semis and box trucks only, or is it dump trucks and other type of equipment as well?
So my clients have different types of equipment, array of them. They're dualies, they're semis, they're dump trucks. I would say my background is definitely intermodal and drayage, power only. That's my
Mm.
background. The entire time that I've been into trucking on the corporate side, that was where I was.
Awesome. Look, man, we got somebody that's listening in, and that's what she does all day long. I mean, I'm pretty sure y'all know each other, but I want y'all to offline about some opportunities about, maybe some of the people you used to work with, because that's definitely what she does.
Okay.
But but yeah. What's the best way for people to reach you if they were looking to, get onboarded to your accounting services?
Okay. So the best way to reach me is my website, which is provisionaccountingsolutions.com. Or if you head over to IG, my name on IG is I am the money architect. And there's that link that it'll take you to a lot of different things. There's a link in there that gets you to my free ebook on the top 10 mistakes that owner operators and fleet owners make that put them out of business. It's a great read. It's also an audiobook format for anyone that may be traveling and they can listen while they're driving. So those are the best places to find me.
Gotcha. Whose voice is the audiobook?
Mine.
Okay, awesome. That's what's up.
Stepped all the way outside the box. It's me.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, look, I mean, are there any closing remarks, anything that you wanted to leave the folks with that are going to hear this on the podcast? Anything, the floor is yours. But, I just want to say thank you.
Okay, I appreciate it. The thing that I want to leave is that financial organization is going to be key to your business. A lot of the times, we attribute the success with the amount of deposits that are coming into our bank account. But just because you're getting deposits doesn't mean that you're making profit. So I want us to get into the habit of being financially organized and knowing and looking at your numbers. If you're not looking at it once a week, once a month, at least once a quarter, check in with your accountant to make sure that you are on track, that you are making money. So that if you are making money, then you know what your tax liability is. If you're losing money, being able to use your numbers to interpret what areas you're losing money in, and if you can understand why you are losing the money.
Bet, 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 bet. Well, I truly appreciate you for joining me this evening, and everybody for tuning in. Thank you all again. As I said at the top of the show, tune in Monday morning, 7:30 a.m. as we host the session with Freightwaves Sonar Team. This week we are going to, or this coming Monday, we're going to be joined by Sage Freight. We're going to discuss their high volume. Uh, Consistent opportunities that they have in whatever fashion. Some are going to be drive-in, could be flatbed, could be drayage. So tune in. I'm just extremely excited about that level of value and connectivity that we're going to be bringing to the connections. And again, Miss Vanessa, I appreciate you, madam. I know that you had to step, like, you're out at a family event right now. Did
Look,
you get
she
that?
she was calling me, so I wasn't sure. I was like, "Oh, did my phone go out?" Yeah, my daughter is at her track meet, so I'm gonna head back over there now because she's getting ready to run. But I definitely appreciate you for having me.
Yes, ma'am. Well, thank you again. God bless you, and I look forward to the next conference.
Okay, talk to you guys soon. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Bye now.
Bye bye.